Greetings and welcome to another episode of the Master Phil in Your Corner podcast. This is episode number 99, lucky number 99. And today's guest will be Michele LaTour. We're going to get into it with her for a little bit, but we're going to be talking about women, what's going on with society, can we differentiate, what's the deal? But before we bring Michele in, we have to thank our sponsors. Of course, we have to thank philross.com for all your training needs. We have online, we have seminars, workshops. As a matter of fact, we're doing a kettlebell seminar at New York United Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. It's a 3-hour kettlebell seminar. We'll be focusing on the get up, the swing, and the squat. And we'll be doing that on June 3rd. And that'll be from 1 to 4 p.m. Make sure that you register soon. You can go to the philross.com site and register there. Anyway, Michele, let's get Michele's background here. Michele is a parental rights activist. Sorry, but you are an advocate as well. Of course, she's a mom. She's a school board member for Northern Valley Regional High School. She's fighting against CRT, the sexualization of the children. She is serving the first of a 2-year term. She helped 7 to 8 candidates get elected the last Board of Ed. That's great. Christian, pro-life, conservative, MAGA, Division I scholarship for basketball at Boston University, a radio personality on the Remix Top 30 Countdown with Hollywood Hamilton, which aired in over 150 stations. And now she's here with Master Phil. Nationally, including 103.5 KTU, New York City, and a former music industry executive. We have to hear a little bit about that. And former candidate for state senate in the District 39 in New Jersey. And to top it off, she's a rhino hunter.
My favorite pastime.
Welcome.
Thank you.
So, do you have anything to expand upon? You got quite an interesting and diverse background here. I mean, music exec. Yeah.
Music exec was fun. That was in my single days. Shortly after college, I got into the music industry for almost a decade, and I was working with a lot of celebrities and touring with artists and doing record release parties and red carpet events. So I definitely rubbed elbows with a lot of people, primarily in hip hop. So I have some good stories for another time.
Yeah.
And then I transitioned into radio. And honestly, now the public speaking has come in handy with the school board and, running for state senate. So.
Oh, I'm sure it has. How did you transition from being a D1 basketball player into the music industry?
It took a couple years, actually. Out of college, I was modeling, obviously because of my height. And then I started working in fashion, and I didn't like it. It wasn't for me. It was very catty and just not more of like a guy's girl. So I had made some contacts at a through a friend who was working at a record industry for a record label, and I ended up getting a job through someone at Sony BMG. Yeah.
Wow, that's great. And then what prompted you to run for the school board? What prompted you to take on this kind of blue area head on? Yeah.
Well, somebody has to. Somebody needs to defend our kids. I'm a mom. I have a 5-year-old. I have my stepson my stepson is in the public school system. So obviously I have an invested interest, and no one else was stepping up. And I became really aware during COVID, like most people, we all woke up and saw what was happening and what Governor Murphy was doing while we were all worrying about the pandemic. He's pushing all these radical agendas that no one realized until, a year or so later. So I really got into it with a group of parents locally, and we just started showing up at meetings and being vocal and educating people on critical race theory. We are educating them on the sexualization of the children, which now that's the main topic. But it's been, pushing its way through the school system very gradually, and now it's kind of exploded. And I just felt called to do it. I'm a Christian and I'm a patriot, and I felt like it was my duty and obligation that I had to stand up for what's right.
Yeah. Well, like obviously, we share the same mindset and have been doing a lot of the same things. And I tend to hit, other than the fitness and self-defense aspects that we talk about on the podcast, I'm big with the rights for children and, getting this ship straight here and going toward more of a Christian-based path.
Mm-hmm.
You know, one of the things that you brought up was the CRT, and you know they're pushing this the DIE. I call it DIE because we're all going to die.
Mm-hmm.
The
It's the
society will
same thing.
die. I said this like, oh gosh, almost 2 years ago at one of the meetings when I saw this critical race theory nonsense, and this, oh no, we do DEI. I go, no, I call it DIE because the society's going to die if
You're
we
gonna
keep doing
die.
this stuff. Hey, Bongino said that the other
Exactly.
day. Bongino said that the other day on his podcast, and I'm like, hey man,
He's
will you
awesome.
listen to it? but
Well, they don't want to call it, they won't call it CRT. Even when we
no.
were, you know, in 2021, when it was really the hot topic and we were at
Mhm.
the meetings and everyone referred to it as critical race theory, they would say, no, we're not teaching critical race theory because that's something that's taught in law school. And, you know, they want to play the word game, but basically they're teaching the exact definition of what critical race theory is, you know, one
Well,
race is superior to the other
yes. Oh yeah, yeah.
and
And I mean,
suppressing, really, it's
it
suppression and
it's suppression, and you know what? It also creates conflict. You
it
know, if you have one
does.
person is considered the oppressor and the other one the oppressee, you know, the victim,
Hmm.
you're reinforcing that victim mentality, and then you're creating division, and that's what I believe the goal is here is to
I've
create.
actually talked to parents who are on the opposite side of the fence politically and now are coming to our side because they're saying that their kids who never saw race before are now feeling that they're dealing with racism because they can't get into colleges because they're not the right
Oh
skin
yeah,
tone. So now like it's becoming a focus, whereas before kids were just kids and they were friends with, you know, whoever, and
yeah.
now they're making them really see color and it's becoming an issue, and it's just a way to separate us, divide and
It's
conquer.
it's terrible. It's not the way to, you know, have a blended community. It will never happen
Mm-hmm.
if they keep pushing this. And like I refer to DIE as CRT in sheep's clothing. Yeah, because they kind
Mm-hmm.
of cloak it. And oh, there's a new one out too. I don't know if you've seen it yet. It's
Cultural
DIE.
responsive.
Oh no, the other one B. You're putting B in there. That's
No, it's
belonging. So diversity, inclusion, equity, and belonging. Now, listen, I have a pretty
oh
decent, yeah, well, I have a pretty decent command of
okay.
the English language. And when you're included, doesn't that mean you belong? I don't know.
Yeah,
Somebody else is trying to you know, make more money on some seminars and so forth. But
exactly.
you know, one of the things you're talking about also is the sexualization of our children. So, and because
I think
this is
that's the bigger
leading,
problem.
yeah, I mean, it's rampant. So, you know, what you know, I understand that the law in New Jersey is that if a student goes to a teacher or a principal and expresses how they're that they're you know, having these feelings of transgender, or maybe they want to be a sheep or a goat or you know,
Mm-hmm. Or
cat or
cat.
something, right? Yeah.
I think there's a school somewhere in Jersey that has litter boxes
Yeah,
in
there,
the
yeah,
bathrooms
yes,
for the children.
there are, yeah. Um, and the teacher is not allowed, the official from the school is not allowed to tell the parents about this.
Which is crazy. I saw a meme the other day where someone said, you know, what if a teacher was baptizing all these kids and not telling the parents that they were baptizing them? Would that be a
Right.
problem?
Yeah.
You know, people would be going nuts over it. So
Yes.
the whole point of schooling is to work with the parents and
Mhm.
to, you know, complement what the parents are teaching at home, not to
Yes.
be secretively, you know, teaming against the parents. It's just, it's evil and it's wrong and it's opening the door for grooming and pedophilia.
Yep. And you know, people talk about the pedophilia in the Catholic Church. You talk about you put about the pedophilia going on in the public schools. It's like 3
Hmm.
times as much. You know, and you know, people have to pay attention to this stuff. And there's, like you said,
Yeah.
grooming that's going on. They befriend the student. They say, "Oh no, you can keep it with me," and then boom, there you go. The relationship has been forged.
Well, remember when we were kids, our parents would say, run away from the creepy white van. And now the only difference between the creepy white van that we knew growing up and the school librarian is the kids can't run from the school librarian.
No, you can't.
So this is the situation we're in.
Yeah, and you know, this all is brought about by well, they're trying to make more like an androgynous society where there's no difference between men and women. And you know, here's the thing.
Hmm.
You know, humans are comprised of 20,000 genes. 20,000 genes make us up. Of those genes, 6,500 of them, the functionality of them, and men and women differs. So on a cellular level, we are different fully by 1/3. How can you deny that much of your biology and expect to be functioning normally?
Well, I think it goes back to anything that God created is being attacked right now. So God created man, God created woman, and it was good. And now we're going to mix it all up and confuse people. And that's really what it is. It's good versus evil.
Yeah, it really is. It is. I will agree with you wholeheartedly that this is evil. This is demonic, just from
100%.
From everything that's going on, the way they position themselves, you know, the images that they worship. You know, from
Look at the music industry. This is why I refuse to work in the music industry now. I don't like the messages they're pushing. I think it's against God. I think it's, you know, it's against everything really that I believe in. So it's just another way to program our culture and our children.
Yeah, and the thing is that children are so malleable and they can be influenced so easily, especially by these authority figures that they're supposed to be trusting. And you know, how can you go and trust what's going on in the system right now when they circle the wagons around each other too? I've gone at it. I pulled my daughter out of the middle school, put her in a Catholic school, and then they circle the wagons over there, you know, and it's just gotten really bad. No.
It is. I can't put my 5-year-old in public school, unfortunately. You know, we pay crazy taxes to live here in Bergen County, and we don't go to the city anymore because it's like the Wild West, and we can't put our kid in the public school. So why why are we living here and paying these taxes?
I know. That's the thing that we're pondering right now. So, you know, I mean, you know, we have to be able to flip this. And I thought we were going to be able to do it with Chitterelli, but then, you know, the Dunkin' Donuts vans came in at 2:00 in the morning, and all of a sudden it's blue ballots. So
it's funny how that happens, right?
yeah,
It's always in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because at 12:00, 100% of the votes were in, and he won Bergen County. Then in the morning, they 50,000 votes for Murphy.
I'm just disappointed that he didn't fight it, but
yeah,
I think that's our problem with Republicans in general, is that we sit back too much and we let the Democrats, the crazies, run the asylum.
Yeah.
And that's why we're in the mess that we're in. And we really need to stick together like they stick together and really stand up. You know, and beat them at their own game, really. We have to beat them at their own game.
Well, you know, they're just, you know, the Republicans most of them don't have a spine. They don't.
Most of them aren't real conservatives.
Sorry?
Most of them aren't real conservatives.
No.
Most of them are RINOs.
Yeah. Yes, I would tend to agree with you. Yeah.
At least the ones I've encountered here in New Jersey.
Yeah. Especially in this area. Yeah. There's another thing I wanted to run by. It was, you know, being a Division I athlete. Okay? And I'm sure you've seen a lot of the pictures, and you know, if a 6'4" guy walks into the room, you're gonna say, "Wow, that's a big guy," right? He's 6'4".
Well, not in Division I. That would be actually a pretty short guy.
Yeah. But well, not maybe I should refer just in general. Just in general.
In general, yeah.
But I'm going to the Division I situation. But here you got the swimmer, 6'4" swimmer, who walks in. He's going against these women who are like, I don't know, 5'6", 5'8", 5'9", whatever. Distinct advantage.
His back is broader, his muscles,
his hands and feet are big. I mean, he's just got complete advantage.
He's got fins.
Yeah. And you know, it was number 546 or whatever at men's, and now number 1 in the women's. And
it's a coward.
And yet he's getting these accolades for like Women of the Year and all this kind of stuff. And these women have trained their whole lives to get to this level. And now they're being chopped out from.
And you have such a short period of time.
Oh yeah.
To, you know, compete at that level where your body is at its, you know, its best potential. And where are all the women's rights people? Where are they now?
Where are they?
They're very quiet. Because it's women that are being attacked.
Yes.
You know, if a man can't succeed against men and he has to come against women, that's a coward to me.
100%.
You know, clearly our bodies are made differently, and we've divided sports for a specific reason, and to come and take what we had and to now, scholarships, Olympics, all these things where women could excel are going to be taken from us. And where are these women that were fighting for equal rights? Where are they?
I don't know.
That's what I don't understand.
I don't know how they're so quiet. I mean, even if you look at the situation where that Riley Gaines actually was physically attacked by transgender,
Twice, right?
by men dressed as women, masquerading as women. And that's another thing. How come it's okay to, masquerade as a woman, but if you put like blackface on, which is wrong, that's okay.
Mhm.
But you can put on woman face, and that's all right.
Yeah.
And that brings me over to that Dylan Mulvaney.
Oh gosh, I can't deal with that one.
This, I mean, this is such a joke. I mean, look, I will tell you though, I had to.
I thought it was a joke. I thought the whole thing was a
Yeah.
joke, just for TikTok viewers. I didn't.
Yeah.
And the thing that really gets me is it's not just he's masquerading as a woman; he's masquerading as a little girl.
Yes,
That's the thing.
yes, a prepubescent
That's
girl.
creepy.
Right, very creepy. He's living out his fantasy. I mean, and skipping around, and now he's got contracts with Ulta, Tampax, Bud Light. That's
Mm.
kind of backfired, which is kind of
Well,
funny.
that, yeah, all of Anheuser-Busch is now
Yeah,
pretty much down the
Nike,
tubes.
but I think Nike retracted some of the stuff too.
Nike, I wouldn't buy Nike.
So but he complained. He was very verbal about complaining about not having getting roles as a man. So he decided to invent himself as a woman. Again, not able to make it as a man, but now he's making it as a woman. And all these people, they want to show how woke they are, how virtuous. So they're all supporting him.
Yeah.
And then if you go
How
against
accepting
him,
I am.
right. If you go against him, you're a homophobe, a transphobe, this phobe, that phobe. It's like, no, it's just stupid. And he's taking money from real women that should be doing those jobs, not him.
And 50 years ago, or probably even less, where would someone like that be placed? Probably in a mental institution, right? They would be treated for a mental illness because they're delusional.
Yes. Yeah,
And
absolutely.
now we're praising it. So again, it's the whole.
Well, yeah. Well, here, if you look at it this way, if someone thinks that if someone has multiple personalities, they'll say, hey, you have a disorder. But now when you think you're something that you're not, and it happens to be a woman, then it's okay. It's like, no, it's not okay. There's something wrong.
Yeah.
There's something repressed, and that needs to be drawn out. And these people aren't getting help because you hear so many complaints about, oh, well, the transgenders have such a high rate of suicide, this, that, and everything. You know why? Because your therapists are telling them it's okay, and then they're not getting the help they need.
And what about the kids that were kind of egged into transgendering and now want to reverse it? What's happening to those kids where they're neither male nor female, and they kind of made a decision when they were a minor and didn't realize they wouldn't be able to have children, and they were told it was reversible? What about the suicide rates for those kids?
Oh, yeah. And now, I mean, look, not to get too
graphic. I mean,
I know, but not to get too graphic here, but just think about this too. And I was thinking about the other day, if you have your genitals removed, reconfigured, whatever,
castrated,
they can't reach orgasm.
Yeah.
So you're going to go does anybody explain this to these 10-year-olds?
Well, probably young children don't understand that.
Right. They don't understand it. By the time they understand it, it's way too late because you give them these puberty blockers and the mastectomies and so forth, and testosterone injections. And if you want to talk about testosterone injections, the shooter that wiped out the Christian school, that girl, she was transitioning. She was on SSRIs, psychotropic drugs, as well as testosterone. How come these doctors aren't being held liable? That's a hell of a cocktail to give. Yeah, that's a hell of a cocktail to give to an unstable person.
They want to blame the guns, but not the people that are drugging these people.
Yeah, and the thing is that if you look back, 40 years ago, we had more guns per capita than we do now, and no shootings. But then again, God was in the house, the school, and so forth. Parents were in control of their kids. We also didn't have these SSRIs being wantonly distributed through the population. So I mean, so now we got all these issues, And I know and you're doing everything at the grassroots level, because that's where it's got to start. And
that's where the fight is. Honestly, it's
Yeah.
where you can make the most things happen. I've, firsthand discovered how corrupt the political arena is. It's even worse than I imagined. And everything we see on a executive, presidential level, it's happening right here down to a local level.
Yes.
So it's all about money and power, and you follow the money, you can see the corruption. But down at the local level, there's still corruption, but you have more of an impact to get in because it's a smaller amount of people. It's your neighbors that are going to vote for you. And that's really where you can make the most difference.
Now, how do we position you're on the Board of Ed, and get these edicts that come down from the state? How do we combat those?
Well, if we had majority on our board, we would just deny it. There are schools that are just denying it and they lose the funding from the state. For me, that wouldn't be an issue. I think there's a lot of places that we can cut where we don't need to take that funding. I think we should go back to where schools were not run by the government because it's not in the Constitution. They shouldn't have their hands in education. Originally it was the churches and it was private institutions that were running schools. And now they have their hands in way too much. And really, what you can do is obviously vote Republican and really look in. Just because someone says they're Republican, you have to look at their voting record and look at the issues and see if they're really a Republican and what they're standing for. But on a local level, just get involved and start showing up to meetings and email, speak up, talk to people, form groups, local groups. That's what we did. And we were pretty successful, and we were able to spread out through, hundreds and hundreds of parents locally. And we've been able to kind of stick together and pull books and do whatever we could do at small levels until we get a real governor in there that can reverse all this.
The thing is that I honestly, I don't think that the government is going to let go of the schools, because if you look at it, even in most of these towns, 60% of the tax revenue goes towards the schools, and they're not giving that money.
Ours is 75% in our town.
Yeah.
And, we're pushing for school choice, but that's something in New Jersey that's going to be so hard because, again, you have the teachers unions and there's a lot of money being made. And if people can take their money to whatever school they want to go to, then the school's going to have to change their ways, and they don't want to do that.
Yeah, no, it's true. It's true. They just don't want to do it. How do we best do that? Do we get superintendents in the schools that aren't afraid to go up against the state? Because it just seems like that a lot of these people have ideals of moving upward and getting climbing the ladder. They don't want to make waves. They want to go along together.
Exactly.
We got to get people in there that aren't afraid to break a few eggs. And
they honestly, they don't always have to be vocally doing that. They could just, not necessarily be pushing the issues in the classroom. You can teach it from a different vantage point, and kind of get around it that way. But really what I do and what I'm doing is just pulling my kid from public school and, finding a way to pay for private for a religious school that's going to support my beliefs. And a lot of schools are seeing a decrease in enrollment because people are just fed up and they don't want their kids to be indoctrinated at 5 years old, told they can be a boy or a girl, or they can be a flower or whatever they want to be. Used to be you can be a cop or a fireman. Now you can be a cat or you can be whatever. So it's crazy. And I'm in the schools a lot, and I've seen in different districts, different subliminal messaging throughout the schools. I've seen schools push the COVID vaccine. I've seen schools with their rainbow stickers on every door and flags hanging. And it's just these messages that are constantly beating down the kids where they're not going to really know what's morally right if they're not, really getting it in their home.
The thing is that, we are taxpayers and we are paying for this. We are financing this nonsense. And short of just us not paying taxes, it's
Boston Tea Party.
Yeah, it might be an idea. I don't know. Maybe we should get
it works for
going.
them.
Just just pull back on the taxes and say, listen, we're just not going to pay them. But I don't.
If everyone did it, that would work. But
I think
only a couple people do it, you're going to be in trouble.
Right. We'd have to make a concerted effort to pull that one off. Maybe it's something
Mm-hmm.
like a tax revolt.
Yeah.
Because if you look at it, the thing is, and I wouldn't even mind paying taxes if I thought it was going to something good, but it's not. We pay more and get less.
Mm-hmm. And it's crazy when you look at other states and what,
Oh, yeah.
I know friends that pay $1,500 a year for their taxes, and we're paying way more than a month. So it's
Oh, yeah.
for
Yeah.
what?
Yeah. I look at my place in
And
Florida.
that's why New Jersey is one of the top states that people are exiting.
Is the top state.
As a realtor, I know that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just, it's funny though, but this area up here where we are is pretty, people are moving to it still in our area.
A lot of people from New York. So you're getting,
Yeah.
that's why it's even turning more and more blue.
Yes. Yep. They're coming in droves. Then I'll tell you, if we didn't have New York there, it's like our numbers would be even worse for the flight.
Yeah.
Yeah. But people are going to be left holding the bag when everybody's gone. And then what are they going to do?
I think California is going to deal with that too.
Oh yeah, and then they have the reparations thing they're doing right now too. I just that is just insane.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, I know. I don't even think we have the time to get into that issue today. But but when we're talking about some of these the images that are being put forth, right? And the reality of it, like example, the star Lizzo, right? I mean, I really don't know any music. I understand she's good, whatever. I don't know, but I do know that she is immense and she's incredibly obese, and they're trying to make it like that's a good a good body composition, and it's not. I mean, she's got diabetes ahead of her, CADs. She's got high blood pressure, all types of issues. Of course, increased rate of cancer too when you're that obese. Not to mention arthritis, joint issues, blah 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 blah. I don't think that it's very responsible for people to say, "Hey, this is a good body image to emulate."
Well, it's definitely not healthy.
No.
So, and it's crazy because I've been noticing that on commercials, and it seems to be targeting African American females primarily. And I literally had a conversation with my son the other day. There was a commercial, I forget what it was for, but it was some obese woman doing yoga. And I looked at my son and I said, we don't judge anyone, but just so you know that is not healthy. That's not, how God wants us to live. Like, we need to take care of our bodies, and it's not a healthy image. And again, I think it's just another attack to have shorter lifespans.
And more dependency upon pharmaceuticals. Because they'll keep those people alive. They just keep pumping them full of pharmaceuticals. High blood pressure, pill, this pill, that pill, this operation, that operation. So yeah, instead of just eating right. And listen, we don't know the whole backstory on the woman, the big woman, doing yoga. I hope she's using it to try to help her get down to a proper weight, using it as a good mode of exercise. But I don't think that is the underlying issue that they're pushing because of everything.
Even with the Victoria's Secret and, a lot of the models that they're showing now are not, I used to love flipping through the pages, wanting to
you
look
and me
like
both.
these women. Now I'm like, I hope I don't look like that woman. It's scary, and it makes me not want to buy the clothing. Quite honestly, it's doing the reverse effect. So I understand accepting everyone and everyone loving themselves, and but you should strive to be the best you can be in all aspects, physically, emotionally, spiritually, and that's just not the message that they're pushing.
Oh yeah. Oh, we were doing one thing. We were on it for a little bit, then we jumped off a little bit, and I'll take the blame for that. So you were a Division I basketball player. What if a bunch of guys decided they wanted to come and play on your team or play against you? How do you think things would probably work?
Well, they wanted to play on my team and we could win. No, I mean, honestly, they have their own team to play on. You know, I used to play when I was in high school and I was trying to get a scholarship, you know, my junior, senior year. I used to go down to the courts and play with all the men. And I would tell them, don't take it easy on me, because I knew playing with them, they're more physical, they're stronger, they're faster. They're going to make me a better player. So when I play against women, it's a lot easier.
Right.
But obviously there's no, I could be the best player and I'm playing against an okay male. I might beat him a couple times, but if there's someone that's at an equal playing level than me, there's no competition. And that's why we're divided. We have different bodies and, you know, it's just not fair. And it just makes me look at these men like they're not men. They're, you know, cowards.
Yeah.
And wimps. If they can't succeed in their own, you know, within their own gender, and they have to come pick on women, like.
And the worst part is that that people who speak out like that are lambasted for it.
Yeah.
You know, that's.
Well, I think that the women that aren't speaking out are the problem. Every woman athlete right now should be sticking together, whether you're a Republican or a Democrat. This is against women. This is against our sports. It took how many years for us to even have our own sports?
Right. That's what it was.
And especially at this level, and we're just going to hand it over to men. It's like, get back in the kitchen, you know, like.
It makes no sense. I mean,
need to stand up.
What I think they should have done in the NCAA swimming is that when they all lined up to swim, all the girls should have just stepped off, get off the platform, and let them go. So you're not going to compete. Just let it go. Go ahead.
Yeah. Why even bother?
Refuse. Yep. And then say when he's done, then okay, now we'll go, or we're just not going to do it because we're not going to race him. That's what has to be done. I mean, we have to start making unified
boycott
like that. Really have to boycott it like big time. That they show up, we're not playing. We're done. They have to boycott every time this occurs, and then it'll stop.
Because that's going to go, you know, for their advertisers, their sponsorships, all of that. They're going to be affected if they don't have an actual race or a game. That's where you hit them. You hit them in their wallet, and we've seen that time and time again with, you know, Budweiser and all these other woke companies. You stop buying from them, and all of a sudden they change their tune.
Yeah. I mean, I never drank Bud Light anyway, so it's really easy for me to boycott it. It tastes terrible. It's terrible. But I'm not drinking any of the InBev stuff anymore. I'm done.
That's good.
Yeah. So, Michelle, what's coming up next for you? Do you have anything you want to say to the audience?
Well, right now I'm focusing really on the school board. We have seats opening, and I think it's really important to get behind conservative candidates and do anything possible to help people, because most people don't know how to get involved, and it's pretty easy. And I've been helping any candidate that's conservative that's come to me for help. I've helped, and I've given them campaign materials, and you know, that's where is, you know, my bread and butter, and that's what I'm going to focus on, because I am a mom and I am most concerned about the future of our country and our children. So that, and also after running in the Senate race, I learned the whole power of county committee, which most people don't even know about. And I think that's a whole topic that voters need to be educated on, because New Jersey is one of the only states that still allows this group, this county committee, to select the line for who gets the line in the primaries. And that's a big deal. So basically they're picking the candidate. So the real election doesn't happen in June or November. It's happening in April when the county committee have their convention. So in 2 years, every county committee seat is up for election. So I plan to help whoever's willing to get involved.
Well, you know, I'm on county committee.
That's really how. Yeah, I do. That's how we know each other.
That's how we met. Well,
but we need real, most county committee people are just seat holders. They're doing it because their friend asked them to, and they'll vote the way that they're told. And that defeats the whole purpose of what it's supposed to be. So I think it's time for really, you know, the younger generation to get involved and to take these seats.
Yep. As a matter of fact, well, you know, I don't vote how I'm told. I vote the way I'm supposed to. So
of course.
But again, thank you for coming on the show. It was a pleasure to have you here. It was awesome. And now we're going to do another one, even though this is your first time, but we'll definitely have you back. And I hope the audience enjoyed it. Thank you very much. Strength and honor.
Thanks.